You know what? I want to just start by saying love. I'm sending love right now today because you know what dawned on me? By the way, my name is Amuni Israel, Solonomics 101. That sometimes we just be getting into, what's wrong, this is wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. And even if you do that to children, ongoing, over and over and over again, they get to feeling like, I can't do anything right. And so children are just little mini people. You know what I'm saying? They're people. And so as adults, we seem to get into that negative cycle of, even when we're talking to each other, so I just want to stop for a minute and breathe love. Because that is the answer. Indeed, we have to know what it looks like, what it sounds like, and how to begin to apply it. So I just definitely wanted to push that positive energy and vibration out there. So welcome once again. My name is Amuni Israel. This is Solonomics 101. And what came on my mind was emotional handicap. When we think of handicap, it's something that is holding an individual back from operating at a normal capacity. For instance, if you see somebody who's physically handicapped, that's kind of easy to tell. Is it their hand or their arm or something happened? They may have been born like that, or along the way some trauma happened, so now they're physically handicapped. So is the case with mental handicap. Some people are born mental handicapped, or along the way disease or trauma happens, and now that person is certifiably mentally or physically handicapped. I have another handicap that often is not so easy to detect. You will not see a little blue handicapped person hanging from the car mirror. You're not going to be able to tell. This one is a little bit more hidden, and it's emotional handicap. And it's like, oh, what are you saying? They call it different names, like personality disorders. Personality disorders, they can be hereditary. They can be something. Did you know a trauma in the head can start someone along the path of having a personality disorder? Look that up. But personality disorders also develop over time. When you're, as a youth, you didn't get what you needed. And so as you grow, you overcompensate. Your ego begins to overcompensate as a protective mechanism. And it morphs into, and it's so very temperamental. It could be too much of something or too little of something. So I'm going to touch on an emotional handicap right now. And one, that's narcissism. This one, it takes so many different, it looks different in different places, right? But this is somebody who they say has come from a Greek mythology. I think if Narcissus, and he liked to look at himself in the water, and he dived off in the water, and they say a narcissist is somebody who's just concerned about something. They never learn empathy. That's an emotional handicap. You don't know what it feels like to feel somebody else's pain. Now, don't get it twisted. A narcissist can reflect what you're feeling and use you as a guide, but that true deep empathy, not sympathy, empathy is lacking. And so this is one type of an emotional handicap. It means like I cannot relate. So what happens is, like I said before, as children, too much or too little of something, attachment styles, the way in which your caretaker, your father, your mother, mostly your mother early on in your life, that's why they often say your mother didn't teach you no manners. You hardly ever hear your father didn't teach you any manners. The general consensus or thought is that these basic things are supposed to be given to you by your mother. And if you're lacking them, it's either because you didn't have any breast milk, you didn't have any nurturing time, you had too many siblings that clipped you off the titty, and it may not develop it. Yes, I did say titty. I'm sorry. Let me say breast. You had too many siblings that booted you out of your space. It may not take the form of narcissism because you may have a narcissistic parent, and it will take the form of codependency, where it is that you're always looking for everyone's approval. You don't know who you are. You're uncertain, and you always need, does it look good? Yeah, it looks good. There is no voice within. There is a voice, but it's kind of quiet. These things lead into social issues when people have problems working in groups, building together. I say all that to say, when we look at the trauma that happened during, and yes, Amuna, she's going to say it again, during the peculiar institution, it calls for a lot of social or emotional handicaps. Couple that with the ability or the inability to actually deal with these issues, then it is why we see that when we come together, we don't really work together in a long period of time well, because all of these unresolved issues in each of us individually, I'm not just saying, oh, you have an issue, you have an issue. Some things are more overt than others, and some people are totally oblivious to the fact that they have an emotional handicap. So I just want to put that in the air today. Some people call it personality disorders. It can be known as an emotional handicap. Why? Because it prohibits you from functioning normally in a social setting. And so I just wanted to put that in the air again, not necessarily to start slapping titles and things on people, but to look at it like that. There's a physical handicap. No one kicks back off of that. People make ramps and people, make accommodation to handicap. It is noted. Some people are not, and some will say mental, they used to use retardation and things of that nature. That's functioning capacity. That can affect your emotional intelligence. But I'm talking about emotion. I'm talking about mentally you are functioning. Mentally, you can go out there and go into the world, but when you come into a space of social interaction, it is through the trauma that you endured through childhood, through your adulthood. This trauma is what is causing now or having the onset of these emotional issues that we see like all over social media, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of these things from grown people who are functioning. They have careers, they have jobs, they have children. You understand? They go to work every day, so they are functioning. But when you sit down and speak to them, it's not connecting. So I don't know where I really wanted to go with that other than just to put that thought out there to possibly look at it. Not to make excuses, because then again, we always like to say, oh, that's an excuse. That person is this, that person is that. No, it's just for understanding. In the spirit of love, in the spirit of understanding, in the spirit of wisdom, I just wanted to put that information out there so that when we look at each other or even ourselves, because I always like to bring it back to the self, if we have an issue operating in society, if we have mistrust issues, if we have an issue operating as a team, we have all of these excuses like I do better by myself or I don't really like to interact. There might be something under there, and emotionally, socially, you're handicapping yourself. If you have an issue always picking the wrong pieces, there's an emotional handicap there somewhere that is causing you not to see what everyone else seems to see. And this is what it does. It often blinds the eyes. It distorts our vision. So basically, it lets us put what's not there and erase what is there to fit our narrative. And so, that's my Solonomics. I don't know what that is today. Conversation. It's going to be coming out soon. Solonomics 101, the do-it-yourself soul improvement guide, and in it is going to be some of the things that I used over the last 18 years. I know I look kind of young and stuff, but I am still, but I have been doing this on my own journey. I advocate, I promote. If you didn't do it yourself, I don't know about you. I'm speaking because over the last 18 years, just a little bit about me really quickly, over the last 18 years, since I was 17 years old, when I went off to college, I started in this whole search for self. It's been this long to go through the pain, the hurt, the epigenetic effects of all the things that I inherited emotionally, mentally, and spiritually from my family and my lineage. And I feel like I just came to point zero. So at this point, I'm going to share it with you. So what's in this book is all of the things that I've found over the years, the information that has helped me at least to see myself. That when I look in the mirror, I can identify myself and come out of denial and actually begin to work from that point. So this is what I've been sharing with you all the time, Solonomics 101. So I hope you enjoy it and definitely look out for that book. So until next time, let's do it one more time. That's that healing vibration.